Hey guys, welcome to DIY Crafts. In this video, I am going to show you how to crochet this beautiful sunflower granny squares which can be used as coasters, blankets, throws, ponchos and many more. So let's get started. For this I am using 4 ply brown color yarn for the center and a 4 mm hook. Now begin with a slip knot and make chain 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now make a slip stitch into the first stitch to form a circle. And we have the center and we are going to work in this center. Now make chain 3 and consider this chain 3 as first double crochet stitch in your first row. Now start making double crochet stitches into the center. And for this project I am making 12 double crochet stitches into the center including the first chain 3. So this means we have already done the 2 first double crochet stitches and that's the third one. 4, 5, that's the 6th one, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and that's the last one in the first row. Now after completing the 12 double crochet stitches, insert the hook into the third chain of the first chain 3 and then make a slip stitch. And this forms the center for our flower. Now take another thread of your color choice and now insert this thread into the stitch as shown. Grab the new color yarn through the loop of the last stitch and pull the previous color tightly, and this secures the addition of the new thread. Now we are going to start the petals for our flower. Begin with chain 3 and this acts as the first triple crochet stitch. Now into the same chain or into the same stitch we are going to make a triple crochet stitch that's only halfway through. So yarn over twice, insert and drop a loop, yarn over out of first 2 loops and yarn over and the next 2 loops. Now we have 3 triple crochet stitches on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the 3 loops on the hook and this will be the triple crochet cluster. That will be our first petal. Then chain 3, yarn over twice and into the next stitch make a triple crochet cluster. Insert the tail ends while working so that you don't need to weave in the ends by the end. Again yarn over twice and make another triple crochet stitch halfway through into the same stitch. Yarn over twice for the third time. Insert the hook and make a triple crochet stitch halfway through. Now we have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the 4 loops on the hook and this forms the second petal with a TC cluster stitch. Let's continue with the third one. Chain 3, yarn over twice and a TC cluster into the next stitch. That's the first stitch, leaving a loop on the hook. And there is a second stitch with another loop on the hook and then finally the third TC with last loop on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all the 4 loops on the hook and this completes the third TC cluster. Again chain 3 and likewise continue to make petals throughout the row. After securing the tail ends you can trim off the excess threads. And let's continue making the next petals of the flower. Yarn over twice and then a TC cluster into the next stitch. Just speeden up the work for you. Continue making the TC clusters in each and every stitch with a chain 3 gap in between. Continue to make until you have the 12 petals in your second row. Making the last petal of the flower, making the last chain 3 and then do a slip stitch onto the third chain in the first TC Now chain 1 and trim the excess thread by leaving a little long tail and just enough to weave in. And this completes the base of our sunflower. Now let's convert this sunflower, it's in a circular shape, right? Now we have to convert this into a square shape. So as we have 12 petals, we are going to add corners for every 3 petals, and this turns this circle into a square. For this I am taking the black color yarn and now inserting it into one of the corners, or insert it into any of the chain 3 space. Now we are going to work in granny stripes or granny squares. So begin with chain 3, and this chain 3 acts as a first double crochet stitch in your 3rd row. And now into the same chain 3 space, make 2 more double crochet stitches. That's the first granny cluster. Granny cluster is nothing but 3 double crochet stitches. Then for the corner, make chain 3, and again into the same chain 3 space, make another granny cluster, that is 3 double crochet stitches. That's the second one and the third one. So this converts the circle into a square and thus forms the first corner of the square. Now without any chain space, insert the tail end while working, yarn over once, and into the next chain 3 space, make the next granny cluster. So that's the first double crochet stitch, 2 and 3. This covers the first petal. Now I am trimming the beginning ends as we have already weaved in for 1 petal. Now another granny cluster into next chain 3 space, covering up the second petal of row 2. So we have 1 corner and 2 clusters for the side, and this is where we are going to work the next corner for our square. So first granny cluster, chain 3, and we are making chain 3s only at the corners, and there is no chain space while working on the sides. Just take a note of it. Again another granny cluster into the same chain 3 space. So this involves a total of 3 petals on the second row, and we have 1 face of flat edge. Again without any chain space, make a next granny cluster into the next chain 3 space. 3 DCs, again 3 more DC into the next chain 3 space. This forms the second side of the square. Another DC, and now again we have to make a corner for our square. A granny cluster, chain 3, making the third DC. Now do the chain 3 for the corner. Again another granny cluster into the same space. That's 3 DCs into the same space. So this forms the third corner of our square. Now for the next 2 chain 3 spaces, make 3 single granny cluster, again a corner, and the last 2 clusters. So this is how we turn the circle into the square. Now make a slip stitch onto the third chain of the first stitch and continue to make slip stitches until you reach the corner chain 3 space of our third row. Here is where we are going to work another row of our granny square. This completes the third row, and now we are going to work across the spaces in between the granny squares, the granny clusters. So begin with chain 3 and make a corner for our square. So another 2 DCs along with chain 3, and then make chain 3 and 1 more granny cluster, that is 3 DCs into the same chain 3 space. So this forms the square corner for our fourth row. Now without any chain space, we are going to work in between the granny clusters. So yarn over and make a 3 DCs into the next space. Again into the next gap in between the granny clusters, make one more granny cluster. Yarn over and the third granny cluster on the side of a square. And then we have a corner. So into the chain 3 space, we are going to make an increase. So begin with 3 DC, that's 1, 2 and 3, and then make chain 3, and into the same chain 3 space make another 3 DCs, that's the second one and then the third one. So likewise continue to make one granny cluster in between the granny clusters and increasing granny cluster with a chain 3 space in the corners. Again a granny cluster in between the granny clusters on the side and a granny cluster increase in the corners. So complete this pattern until you reach the starting point of the 4th row. After making the last granny cluster, make a slip stitch onto the 3rd chain of the 1st chain and then chain 1 and trim the excess thread. And that's it, your sunflower granny square is ready. Now make as many squares as required for your project according to its dimensions and join them by using any of the techniques you would like. Here for this project I am using a single crochet joint to attach the squares. I have made in multiple colors of the same weighted yarns to give the look of a multicolored blanket. You can simply use them as coasters or attach them to make a blanket or handbag, throws and ponchos and many more projects. How are they looking? Aren't they cute? The written pattern of this sunflower granny square is given in the description, do check it out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe and click on the bell icon to get the notifications for my latest videos. Make sure you follow me on social media platforms, links are given in the description. And here is my throw with 35 squares. I hope you all enjoyed watching this tutorial. Do give this pattern a try and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. See you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it and subscribe to DIY Crafts.